welcome to my channel, Fandom, for a brand new movie review. It has been I think quite a while since I've done a review here on my channel. Or I guess All You Need Is Kill, I think, was the last time I did a review. And that was also the last time I guess I went to the movie theater. But for today, I decided to go see Scream 7. Today is Thursday the 26th, the day before it's supposed to actually come out. So I pretty much saw a pre-showing of it. Uh, Interesting. There's stuff I want to talk about, definitely. So as always, some minor to just major spoilers in a way. Uh, but I saw Scream 7. Yeah. I went to my local Regal for this one. Um, I wasn't really sure if I wanted to go see it this year. It didn't really feel like it was time for another Scream movie. Uh, I don't know. Even though it's been through like 3 years since like number six, it just felt too soon for some reason. And I guess maybe that is due to maybe just how the marketing went for this film. It wasn't the best, I would say. So maybe that's why it just didn't get me hyped up like Scream 6 did. Um, but this film was very interesting. Um, yeah. Uh, to put it, like, it definitely, I liked how it kind of felt more like the first film, more just in a small town, instead of all these crazy locations to put it. Um, but this one just felt more. It felt more grounded in like the original. That's how it felt, but how it was also kind of incorporating things from the first three films. Also, not like majorly, but definitely things from the first three films played a part into how this film went. Uh, and the biggest mystery of this film was the return of like Matthew Lillard to the franchise as Stu Macher, uh, which Chachamaru. Uh, Definitely also this film, to put it, it tackled AI. The film's own way of just pretty much telling a story of how AI is just bad in a way, to put it. In another, horror movie setting, this one went with like the deep faking videos, which was a very interesting concept that hasn't been brought up too much when it comes to AI. But this one was very interesting. Um, this is gonna go very heavily spoilers, but with Matthew Lillard's character and the main killer from the second film, I think it's Nancy Loomis, Billy's mother. I think that's her first name. And then we have Bridger, whatever, Roman, the killer from the third film. Them all being used as deepfakes with AI, and then for a cameo role, they also used Dewey. David Arquette's character was also used a part to help, like, try to pretty much manipulate Sydney into believing who is alive and who isn't from her past. Just AI played a very big part in this, with how the main killers of this film were using the past killers and people that she knew, just pretty much fucking with her, to put it, uh, by using those deep fakes of just people she knew from her past. Definitely just an interesting way they went about it. The one thing about this film, I also felt, I made a review. I will put it on the side here, um, on Letterbox, just a little one, but pretty much what I said, how it just the AI stuff, and then just, to me, for this franchise, this felt like the Halloween Kills of Scream. And if you don't know what Halloween Kills is, it's part of the Halloween franchise, but part of the Blumhouse trilogy, the second film in the Blumhouse trilogy. And that film was notorious for how they pretty much almost were killing pretty much everyone in the cast. Everyone in the cast was pretty much getting killed off. Did not matter who it was. And that's what it felt like for this Scream film, honestly. Was very surprised by some of the people who were in this. McKenna Grace, for one person. She's been appearing in, I think, a little bit too much stuff, but it's not like it's been like the hugest of roles that she's been getting lately. Regretting You was like one of her more bigger ones, and now she's going to be in the upcoming Hunger Games film. She was just in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, if I'm not mistaken, but that one I think was pretty much like how her role was probably here in Scream 7. And I'll say she got one of the few characters who got probably one of the most brutal kills in like the franchise, I would say. She literally gets gutted, just hanging in the air there. Like, don't want to go too much into how, but oof, just the way they did it, very brutal, very brutal. And this film, the kills were they were, not to say that they were bad, like not trying to say like like them being too much people getting killed was bad. It's just, I guess, how they went into the kills. I guess one girl, Celeste O'Connor's character, had such a great scene. It kind of felt like the scene from Ironheart a little bit with the White Castle, but this one, her death was kind of dumb. I think they could have done it better. It was such an action, like, little suspenseful scene of her trying to hide from Ghostface, but then he finds her. Does like just a bar, like, slides her across the bar that she's in, and she hits a whole bunch of just glass cups that are stacked and falls to the ground. But I guess as that's happening, I guess the glasses, like, I guess, break as she's falling through them. Like, I guess a shard of it just gets lodged in her neck, and that's how she dies. And I'm like, that's a little lame, honestly, of a death. And then the freaking one guy who was the creepy kid they were putting it in the film, his death was goofy, I think, also. So goofy. Definitely felt like definitely a scene that Michael Myers or like Jason Voorhees type of kill. Like, for Ghostface to do this type of kill is very, like, brutal. The way he goes into the kitchen to help Celeste O'Connor's character before she dies, comes out with, I guess, we don't even see what happens to him. He just comes back out immediately, and he's already, like, bleeding and everything. Falls unconscious and everything. And then, like, moments later, after Celeste O'Connor's character's demise, he wakes up, just coughing, blah, blah, blah. Ghostface is like, oh, doesn't say anything. It's just in the moment, like, oh, this guy's not dead. Let's finish him off. Freaking picks him up and just, like, impales him through the back of his head back here through a beer tab that, I guess, is just super pointy and sharp. Just impales him down. And then the goofiest thing about it is when he does that, his freaking eyes and everything, just and mouth, just, it looks like he's throwing up. That's why I thought at first that he was throwing up, but no, it's the freaking tab, and his blood and everything, freaking brain matter, I guess. It's all just coming out of his mouth like how the beer tab, pours beer. And it's just a combination of that, and it's like, that is so goofy. You can tell a bit how practical it was, so it was kind of interesting, I would say, with the special effects for it. But I thought it was so goofy, especially with how they were kind of like setting his character up for the film, and just for them to be like, nah, dead. The first guy in the film, also, how every Scream film starts, there's someone who has to get murked. The first guy, I thought that was quite an interesting death with how he was going about, but then just through the head. Psh. This was just a very brutal film with the kills, I would say. Definitely just no one is safe, I would say. Like, out of all the films, like, this one, no one's safe, it feels. I honestly thought Sydney might have died for this film, but nah. they're going to keep around as Scream 8 has already been announced to be in production. Uh, so that's going to be interesting. But this film is so interesting. Just all the callbacks, and also to the previous films. Uh, I wasn't really sure because how important Scream 6 would be for this film, but they kept on talking about New York, the events of New York. Oh, just it kept on getting brought up so much times. Scream 6, the events. Um, so that it was definitely just interesting. And then a little bit stuff from like the previous killers of Woodsboro. Just a lot of callbacks there. Uh, and then Gail finally got her interview with Sydney. Finally, kinda, I guess. I don't know. But I thought it was pretty good. Having Sydney back. But this film, I don't know. It was. I'm still very like it's still like processing in my head how I feel about this. Um, I don't hate it, but it's definitely I don't think like the best in the franchise. Just I don't know. The story was there, but it was definitely I guess just how they go with every film, trying to add something new. This film also try to incorporate like retconning to a series. Uh, as the last two films have been kind of like legacy stuff, and this is still kind of legacy film still too. But retcons and just remakes, reboots, all that getting brought up, and then this film, just how they go about it, it's just interesting. And then I think that the when it came to the marketing, the main trailer, I think they maybe showed too much in that trailer because like when it came to when the actual scenes were happening in a film, I felt like I already knew what was going to happen. It's like like I kind of I like how some of the previous films it's like the mystery of who's going to get murked. But this one's like you kind of know already with how they market stuff, and it's like, but I don't know. I had a good time, I guess. I did. I wasn't too sure like, if I want to see it tonight or tomorrow or just at all, but I decided just for the hell of it, let's just go and see it. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It was definitely interesting from the kills, the story, and just the little cameo call like cameos and the bring people back from the previous films. Just mystery of if they're real or AI or what. It's just interesting. And then the killers, I will say, I didn't even talk about the killers of the film. I won't really talk about them too much because don't want. I want that to still be a mystery. Um, Definitely the film kept you guessing on who the hell the killer was. After every single person was getting murked, it kind of helped you cross off the list of who it could be out of all the cast. But it definitely still kept you guessing. And then when they were revealed, it was like, oh wow, we were tricked. Definitely tricked. And then misled quite a bit. And that wasn't a bad thing, but it was definitely interesting. It's like because this one also I will say I don't know if any of the other ones did it, but this has three killers in it instead of your normal two. It has three killers instead. I don't. That's as much of a spoiler I'll say. So there's three people you gotta be paying attention like who could be the killers. But it's definitely an interesting sequel for it being the seventh in a franchise that's big. And then this film also had for this weekend we'll have for the trailers there's two films from uh, I guess Paramount I think is doing both of them, but that are I don't know about the second one, but the first one is I think Paramount. But there's two films that they're promoting for during the Scream 7, I guess, weekend that I don't think are on YouTube yet, which is interesting. It's kind of like the Odyssey and like Avengers Doomsday, a little bit kind of how exclusive trailers to theaters. But it is for Scary Movie 6. And the horror movie, a lot of people were laughing. I try to cover up my eyes for both trailers, but the second one's called Passengers. And it's like a horror movie. people, it might be like a horror comedy, I guess, because so many people were laughing, or just I guess maybe what was going on was maybe too goofy of a concept. But two things like that are being promoted for Scream 7. So, be wary of that if you're trying to avoid those trailers. Um, but yeah, I think people should definitely go check this film out. Definitely interesting. Definitely different than the last year. Like I said, it definitely feels more like the first like film, kind of like the first couple a little bit. Just going back to that roots, the small townness, just having the main cast pretty much for the most part. Just I guess now just Sydney and Gail, and Gail's introduction in this film, Chef's Kiss. What an introduction back to her character for this film. Just the way she comes on screen for the first time in this new sequel. I don't think people will be displeased with it. I hope. Uh, Definitely good. Um, don't know what else I want to say. I guess on this. Uh, just yeah. I guess the only thing, if your people are looking out for if there's going to be any mention of like Jenna Ortega or Melissa Baracco, I think that's her name, the two from the previous two films. The only mention of this is, I think, Sydney saying, or maybe it was one of the twins, saying how Billy Loomis had a secret love child, which is in reference to her character. But that's all. And then there's a whole bunch of mentions of New York, but that's all it is. They're always just saying just New York, not like what really happens in the events, but yeah, you guys just gotta go see it, I guess. So thank you for tuning into this review. Being kind of a little bit all over the place, I feel, but try to be as in order from beginning to end in how the film is. So I'm not too out of place, but interesting sequel, to put it. So let me know in the comments down below your thoughts below, and thank you for tuning this reaction, everybody. Or thank you for tuning into this movie review. This has been quite interesting. You guys will be seeing this tomorrow on the 27th, when this the film actually is supposed to release, like, worldwide, full releases. But this is the 26th. The night, it's almost midnight, so it's about to turn the 27th. But thought I would get this review out early, and so just let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell for whatever I do post in the future. And just thank you for tuning into this video and giving me a try. And take care, everybody.